Milwaukee homeowners, are you thinking about selling your home but you're not quite sure where to start? In this video, I'm going to walk through the 5 biggest mistakes that I see homeowners make in our area. After selling over 130 homes in the past 3 years, I literally see these mistakes all the time. So I want to do my best to help you avoid them. Let's jump straight into it. First things first, we're talking about guerrilla marketing. Sounds fancy, right? But it's not. It's super straightforward, and it's actually a goldmine for marketing your listing. And what I'm talking about is Facebook groups. So often now, agents are using and relying on traditional methods of marketing to market their listings. And as a homeowner, I think you deserve more. Traditional marketing methods are super common, and those have been going on for decades. But if you're paying full service commission now, you don't want to just rely on the old-fashioned techniques. We want to be creative and mix it up. So Milwaukee has a ton of these local groups, and I'm sure you might even be a part of some of them. You know, your Fisher Woods neighborhood group, your local community group, your neighborhood association group, or a buy-sell trade group, Brookfield buy-sell trade, buy-sell anything Milwaukee. All of these groups are perfect for marketing your property because there's so many people that are plugged into there, and you get so many eyeballs looking at your listing that's for sale. Let's move on to our next point, and that is clutter and junk. Get it all out. Everybody has so much stuff that they've accumulated in their house for years a lot of times, and the most cost-effective way to boost your home's value and presentation is by decluttering and getting everything out of there that you possibly can. 1, we want to get it cleared out because we may potentially stage your property, but 2, even if you're still living there and some of your furniture is there, we want your home to look clean and pristine, and there's no better, easier, cost-effective way to do this than decluttering. Seriously, think about it. If you're a home buyer, try to put yourself in a home buyer's shoes, and you walk into a new listing that you're touring. If there's stuff everywhere, it's very distracting for the home buyer. They see your toothpaste, they see some weird hand soap, they see some odd snacks or half-finished soda. And those are obviously extreme examples, but it can be anything as small or big. And it's very distracting for the home buyer. You want the home buyer to envision themselves in your space, and you want to depersonalize it, declutterize, and that way it's not being foggy for the buyer and that they can really make it their own. So when you walk into a well-staged, decluttered, clean home, it's like night and day compared to kind of a cluttered, half-cleaned home. It's amazing the effect it can have on a home buyer, and it's exactly what we need for your home to pop and get top dollar in this market, which is becoming increasingly hard for sellers. So a lot of home sellers ask, Ethan, how do we do that? Give me some pointers. Okay, step 1, let's just break it down. Step number 1 is declutter. Don't overthink it. Anything, little knickknacks, magazines, stuff that's on the end table that you like to read, or even coasters that have been sitting in one spot for however long. As many things that you can get off surfaces and off the floor as possible, the better. And that's partially why I include a storage credit in my listing commission, so that you can get as much junk out of your house as possible. We can throw it in a storage facility and make your house look pretty. Step number 2, clean, clean, clean. Clean like your life depends on it. I've had a couple listings where I've had feedback that it's pretty dirty. And honestly, when I first started, you don't really realize it, but it really comes off to different buyers when they've seen home after home after home, the ones that have been professionally cleaned and the ones that have been kind of half-heartedly cleaned. So cleaning every nook and cranny, dusting, mopping, cleaning surfaces, obviously, making sure there's no smudges on any appliances or the fridge. And I help out with this as well with my sellers. I always provide professional cleaner. I hire them to come in and clean your home for you so that we can get things looking spick and span. Step number 3, we're gonna talk about staging. Staging is very important, especially as the market becomes more competitive for sellers trying to attract buyers. Picture HGTV channel when there's a really beautiful home, or maybe even not so beautiful, but the furniture is kind of trendy. It makes you like it. It makes it feel more open and spacious, and even gives you a little bit of ideas of how you can situate your furniture there in the future as a buyer. So we want to stage your home so that we elicit all these different feelings from the buyer, and it goes a long way. Obviously, the furniture isn't going to come with with, but sometimes the buyer can kind of lose sight of that, and they can really fall in love with the home, not only because of the location and what the home has to offer, but also because of the furniture that's inside. That's a very nearsighted way to look at things from a buyer, but it's very hard to avoid that when you walk into a beautifully staged home. And to continue on staging, so there is a couple ways we can do it. Whether you're living in the property or you've completely moved out, we accommodate our approach depending on what situation you're in. If you're still living there, we declutter and we do what's called light staging. We take a lot of your decor down, and my stagers will come up and put very well thought out artwork and vases and things like that, and some plants, flowers, all of that stuff. So we can do staging whether you're still living in your home or you've moved out. Last step for decluttering and presentation is lighting. We want your home to pop, and by that is not only by staging and decluttering, but also making sure the light is inviting. So whether that's changing light bulbs from being super bright white and almost like a surgical room to a little bit softer, or clearing out some things in the yard, maybe doing some type of landscaping so that you remove the bush that's in front of the window to let more natural light in. Lighting can really make a difference as well when a home buyer walks in and they get that initial first impression of the inside of your home. The third biggest mistake that I see Milwaukee home sellers make is ignoring seasonality. Now let me explain. If you live in Wisconsin or Milwaukee, I'm sure you're well aware of some of the winters that we can have. They can be kind of vicious, and they can be very cold, and the summers can be really hot. Not only does the temperature change when these seasons change, but so does home buyers' attitudes. So a huge mistake that I see home sellers make is completely ignoring the strategic timing of your listing and just throwing it on the market whenever. Just to walk through some of the seasons and what we see, first I'll just start with winter. We'll get the cold one out of the way. In winter, obviously temperatures are low, snow is high, and there's a lot fewer buyers looking in the winter time. And that can create a couple advantages. Because there's fewer buyers, there's also fewer sellers. So if you have to list during winter time, you have to list. Sometimes life comes at you and you have to list at a certain time, whether it's ideal or not. So if you have to list in the winter, we are a little bit strategic about our decor that we stage with. We want it to be cozy, warm, inviting. We want to be cognizant of what everybody's experiencing outside when they come in. Okay, after winter comes spring, a lot of people's favorite season, and it's also home buyers' favorite season. Home buyers are the most active in the spring and early summer, and that gives us an opportunity to catch a ton of traffic as everybody's starting up their search after their hibernation during the winter. So some things we want to consider during the springtime is landscaping, getting people ready to envision what it's like when it's warm weather here. Even if there's, maybe sparse leaves on trees still, we want to spruce up the landscaping so that it pops. Your home, your listing will pop compared to a lot of the other homes in springtime that are still kind of lackluster after a long winter. All right. After spring, we got summer, of course. Summer is also a very busy time in real estate, with the vast majority, or the month that has the most closings, typically is June and July. So it's a very busy time. And some things we want to focus on during summer is showing home buyers how your outside space is utilized. So that's staging really nice patio furniture. Similar to spring, we want to make sure your landscaping is on point, and we want to give the buyers a sense of what it would be like to have a summer cookout in their new home. All right, so we've gone through winter, spring, and summer. We have one season left, and that's fall. That's my favorite season, and it's a lot of people's favorite seasons because you kind of get that cool, crisp, refreshing feel coming from a hot summer. So we want to take advantage of that. We want to make sure to avoid some of the things that happen in the fall, like the beginning of the school year and some of the different holidays. So what we want to do is really cater your listing to a lot of fall tone, earthy tone colors, like the oranges, the browns, and we set things up just to give people that cohesive effect from everything that they've been seeing with the pumpkin spice drinks at Starbucks to the pumpkin patches. We want to extend that into your home so that home buyers get that warm, fuzzy feeling. So that's kind of everything in a nutshell when we're talking about seasons in the Milwaukee market. The fourth biggest mistake that I see Milwaukee homeowners make when it comes time to sell their house is underestimating the days on market effect. All right, let me break it down for you. Days on market effect, what does that mean? Days on market is every single day that your home is listed for sale before getting an accepted offer. And what we look at is home sellers and homes that are for sale that have long days on market, the outcome of their sale is typically drastically affected in a negative way the more days your home sits on the market. So let me explain. The more time your home is on the market, the more that the leverage shifts from you as the home seller to the potential home buyer. This is very important because real estate is all about leverage. I want you to imagine this. You're a home buyer and you see a property, or maybe your agent sends you a property to go check out. And you look at it and you say, agent, or why has this home been on the market for 45 days? I wonder what's wrong with it. That's a terrible question that is asked. You never want that as a home seller. You never want a buyer asking what's wrong with your home, because they're gonna be skeptical. And when they tour your home, they're gonna be looking around and picking it apart and saying, yeah, this is why it's been on the market. Buyers don't like this. And you completely lose all of our leverage as the home seller in a negotiation standpoint. And what I mean by this is if a home buyer likes a home, but it's been on the market for 2, 3, 4 weeks or more, they're gonna come in and submit a low ball offer. And quite frankly, they're gonna have more leverage than us because we're in a bad strategic position because the home has been on the market for so many days without any offers or any accepted offers. What's the solution to this? And it's pretty simple. One, it's about being realistic and trusting the professional that you hire. If a property has been on the market for too long, it's really bad news. So we wanna be realistic about your timeline as a seller. If there's a certain price that you want to get and you're not too worried about if your home even sells, then it doesn't matter. Let it sit on the market. It's probably not going to end in a successful sale, but you're fine staying there, so stay there. But if you have a reason to move and you have a timeline you're trying to work on, you really don't want to be pressured into accepting an offer that's lower than what you were hoping for. The solution is pricing according to the market. We want to come in right at the medium of the comps. So there's going to be high comps, low comps. We want to come in right in the middle or maybe slightly lower than some of the comps that we've been looking at so that we can drive competition to your listing and get the best offer possible. The best thing that we can get for you in your home sale is multiple offers. There's so many reasons why that's beneficial. Not only does your price going to go up, and it's also going to drive buyers to start waiving contingencies, and you're going to have a much smoother transaction with fewer hiccups along the way. The last thing I want to say about this, the days on market effect, is every market and every neighborhood and town is different. So there's a lot of different areas in the greater Milwaukee area, right? We want to take a strategic approach depending on where your home is located. And we do that by looking at the trends and days on market for the homes in that area. We're here at my final mistake that I see home sellers make in the Milwaukee area. Number 5 is getting too in your feelings. Now, I want to be sensitive to this topic because this is a very emotional process for a homeowner. They're selling their home, and often they've been in their home for 5, 10, 15 years or more. And you've made a lot of memories there. So it's understandable how it's a very emotional process. So what we want to be careful of is listening to your feelings too much. And I know that sounds weird, but we want to be as objective as possible so that we can make an informed and smart decision. Because to be frank, and some tough love for you, is that a home buyer is not going to look at your home the same way that you do. They're just not. So we want to be as strategic as possible to get in the minds of a home buyer and price your property accordingly so that we can have a successful sale and get the most money possible. So one way that I try to help my home owners and sellers with getting in their feelings too much is, obviously giving them the best advice as I can. But when we are looking at comps and looking at other homes that are for sale in the area, oftentimes I'll take the seller with me and we'll go tour a home that's for sale that might be in their neighborhood or that's comparable. That way you can see, okay, this is what this home is going for at this price, and this is how nice it is. And then you go back to your home and hopefully you'll see whether or not it's similar or yours is much nicer or much lower. So a lot of times that helps. So that's kind of my pro tip on trying to get out of your feelings. The best way to do that is go see some other homes that are like yours for sale. All right, Milwaukee, that is it for today. I really hope that this was helpful for you. I mean, I could talk about this stuff for hours, and if we end up working together, we can dive into this as much as you want. But if you think someone might find this stuff useful, feel free to send it to them. And of course, if you have any questions about anything that I said or you disagree, comment, send me a message, whatever. And of course, as always, if you need help buying or selling real estate, don't hesitate to reach out to me for a very low pressure, just simple conversation. You can reach me at 920-723-9101. Again, this is Ethan Masson, local real estate agent in the Milwaukee area, Keller Williams, and hope to talk to you soon. Thanks.